My Pugna guide that I worked on a few months ago seemed to do pretty well, and so I began working on this guide. Lina has always been one of my favorite heroes because of their ability to team fight, 1v1, creep clear, and tower push. They are a well-rounded hero who, with a well-rounded team, is not easily beaten. She's just a very satisfying hero to play. You feel good about landing a Yule's stun burst kill, or hitting 3 heroes with your AoE stun, or burning away the health of the enemy as you team fight, or taking someone out of a fight with a well-timed ult. It's a hero that seems to reward you for learning to play them. Lina is often underestimated as a squishy hero who can't contribute past early game. If you have a decent team and good timing with your items, you won't need to be tanky. However, you will struggle without another carry to back you up. You need to be able to sit behind a team fight and move in and out as your abilities come off cooldown. Follow this guide and you should be on your way to winning with Lina. Before we get started, you need to be aware of a few things. First, this guide does not cover the timing of abilities. You will need to practice certain things on your own or find a video that goes more in depth about it. The classic Yule stun has always been a feel it out type of timing for me. I never searched for how to do it, I just practiced. Same with landing stuns on moving targets. It's just something you need to do over and over and over until you get it right. Second, you need to be aware of the enemy and their items. A Lincoln Sphere is your ult's worst enemy. Be aware if a team grabs one. You should focus on taking out anyone who doesn't have a counter to you or your items. Communicate with your team, if you're lucky enough to get one that speaks your language, and tell them what you're doing. Part of this process also depends on what items you pick up later on. My ability and item build's purpose is to harass early and get kills. Last hitting is important, but keeping the enemy from farming is even more important. The build goes as follows: Q, W, Q, E, Q, R, Q, W, E, W, R, E, W, E, stats, R, and all stats from there. Now, many people get upset that I don't level the stun first because they think it will help secure the bounty run. But I am not one to contest if they send more than 1 or 2 people to get the rune. If you have an alchemist, you can adjust and level the stun first to secure the rune for him, or if you're an avid rune fan, you can level the stun first as well, but you should roughly follow the ability build I have from that point. My item build is very simple. It doesn't need any adjustments until late game, where you'll need to choose what to get depending on if you're doing well or struggling to survive. In the early game, we pick up 1 blade of attack and a set of tangos first. You could also go with raindrop if it's a heavy magic damage hero up against you in the mid lane, but I haven't personally done that. Tangos always work well for me. You could potentially go without the tangos, but I always pick them up just in case things get rough. Now, if you want to finish the phase boots early, as I often do, you can. However, I only suggest that if you're focusing on getting last hits or want to conserve mana and harass a melee hero out of lane with right clicks. If it's a weak hero mid, you should focus on mana regen, which is why I suggest a Void Stone. As for the core items, the phase boots I talked about should be finished as soon as you get your Void Stone, or vice versa if you got the phases early. After that, we need to build our Yule's Scepter of Divinity as soon as we possibly can. It will be extremely important for dodging, chasing, and bursting the enemy. Then we pick up our Aghanim Scepter to get pure damage with our ult. Again, this will help us in bursting down enemies, especially weak supports. Oracle and Omni come to mind. Just be wary of BKB, Lincoln Sphere, and immunity moves like Omni's Repel. And as I always mention, keep TP scrolls on you at all times. I have 2 to 3 on me at any point in the game until I can get some boots of travel. The late game can vary depending on the situation. However, an Aether Lens is always a good pickup. It can be a huge difference in saving a teammate or an enemy getting away. Once you have the Aether, I'd pick up an Octarian Core and a Lincoln Sphere. If you have a lot of enemy heroes with target items and abilities, I would grab the Lincolns first. But either way, when you buy one, you should try and get the other immediately after. If you're having problems surviving fights, you could get a Shadow Blade instead, which you would then upgrade to a Silver Edge when possible. If the enemy keeps barely escaping you, get some burst damage with the Dagon. Oh, and don't forget to eventually sell those TP scrolls and the phase boots to get some boots of travel, which should be upgraded when possible. There are other items you could pick up, but I find these items to be the best for me. The only one I haven't personally tried is the Dagon build, but it should work well if you need the extra damage. Hopefully this guide helped you in learning to play Lina. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like. If you didn't, leave a dislike and a comment explaining what I did wrong. I always try to tailor my content to my viewers, and if you have any issues, be it small or large, I would love to see if I can fix them. Also, on a personal note, I hope this video was better than the previous guide I did. I worked on the UI to be a bit more esports style, removed the HUD from gameplay for less distraction and smoother gameplay. Overall, I try to improve it. Feedback really does help me, and so does referencing your friends to this video. If you have any ideas for future guides, leave me a comment. I hope in the future to create these kinds of videos based on the guides of other people in the community. Be sure and check out my mid lane Pugna guide if you care to learn that hero. It's a fairly up-to-date guide on Pugna as a mid laner, and should help you out if you're new to playing him. Thank you for watching my content. Be sure and subscribe for future guides and videos.